Have you ever stood in front of your work and felt like it wasn't good enough? And suddenly it felt like you weren't good enough. This happens to many artists. Something I've noticed very often among artists, and also in myself sometimes, is that our sense of self becomes deeply tied to the success of our work. When the work is going well, you feel valuable. And when the work fails, you feel like you failed as well. You can be standing in front of a painting that isn't working, and the mind says, maybe I'm just not good enough. Or someone comes into your studio and they don't respond to the work. I remember this happening to me. Someone walked in, looked around, and didn't really react to anything. And my mind immediately filled in the silence. They don't see it. Maybe it's not good enough. And I remember wanting to hide the work away. Or you're looking online and you see other artists and you think their work is stronger than mine. Maybe they're more talented. Maybe I'll never get there. And suddenly, your work feels small. A lot of work is never shown, not because it's bad, but because the artist feels not ready, not good enough. And this is where something subtle happens. The work is no longer just an exploration, it becomes a measure of talent, a measure of value, a measure of whether you belong. And that creates a very heavy relationship with the work. So what's happening here is simple. The work becomes a measure of the self. When your value becomes tied to the work, every painting becomes a test of you. And in that test, there is a lot at stake. Fear, hesitation, overthinking, paralysis. And this is why even small feedback can feel personal. Because the work is no longer just the work. It has become you. But the work is not you. And this distinction is essential. You might notice next time you're working when you stand in front of your work and something doesn't work yet. Do you feel curiosity? Or do you feel self-doubt? Your work is an expression of you, but it's not the measure of you. And when these two become entangled, the process becomes heavy. But when they separate, something changes. When your value is no longer dependent on the work becomes lighter. It becomes an exploration again. When failure changes meaning, when failure is no longer personal, it becomes information. And you start seeing, this works and this doesn't work. This interests me and this doesn't. And that's all. Depth in work does not come from proving your value. It comes from attention, from being present with what you are doing. The moment the work has to prove something about you, you lose that freedom. And a big part of this process is comparison. Comparison always carries a subtle assumption that you are lacking something. But what if you look closely? Comparison is not the problem. It is actually a form of protection. The mind is trying to keep you safe. Safe from rejection, safe from failure, safe from the unknown. Because making art and showing your work is entering something unfamiliar. So that feeling of doubt is not necessarily something wrong. It's a signal that you are entering new terrain. And instead of reading it as, I'm not good enough, you can begin to see it as, this is new, this matters to me. And that shift from fear to curiosity changes everything. Maybe your work was never meant to carry your worth, only your intention. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.